Say yes to new beginnings.
Yes.
Say yes to new standards of excellence.
Yes.
Say yes to engaging reportage with a difference.
Yes.
Introducing Yes International Magazine. The time to say yes to your dreams and aspirations is here.
Okay. All right. Now, still talking about that election, what would you have done differently if the people had elected you compared to what is currently on ground?
Two persons are the same. I would have done several things differently. In a manifesto which we call Roadmap to Prosperity, we outlined what we could have done if given the opportunity to serve as governor. And we anchored it on three things. Step one is security, law, and order. No society can prosper if there is no law and order. If the people are not safe and secure and they don't feel safe and secure, no society can prosper. Now, in an atmosphere of insecurity, you cannot talk about economic prosperity. You cannot talk about economic growth. When the people feel insecure, not only are they insecure, when they feel insecure, productivity will come to all-time low. When productivity comes to all-time low, there will be no employment because there are no economic activities. In an atmosphere of insecurity, there will be no economic activities. People won't go to farm. They will feel insecure to go to farm. There will be no production. And when there's no production, of course, you know that poverty will visit the people like a feast. And when the people are poor, of course, you know it affects the quality of living and it affects the next generation. They can't send their children to school. That's what happens when there's poverty. They can't get the best of healthcare. They can't get the best of nutrition. Is that not what happens when there's poverty? And so we have said the first thing we will address is the issue of security. And order. The second one is to create the environment for investment to flow into Rivers State. Create the right environment. And creating the right environment means that we put the right infrastructure in place. We will address social infrastructure. And when we say address social infrastructure, one is address the issue of education. You build capacity of the people. If you to live a productive life, when you invest in education, whether in primary, secondary, and tertiary education, what you're doing is that you're enhancing the capacity of the people to live a productive life. And it affects the generation that will come after them. Now, when they have knowledge, when they have skill, they become employable. Now, they are not going to become open to be used for crime and all of those stuff. They will live a well-guided and productive life. So we invest in social infrastructure of education. We invest in social infrastructure of healthcare. We invest in social infrastructure of the platforms that will provide them opportunity to embark on meaningful economic activity. So the second thing we say create a right environment for investment to come in and thrive. Now the other thing, aside from that environment includes the fact that you build infrastructure. Now you make the judiciary function. Now the fact that if you talk about land title, people should be to have access to land title. With land title, they can now take loan. They can do businesses. Now invest in power infrastructure. We have a clear plan on how to give Rivers State 24 hours, 7 days power supply. There's no part of Rivers State that light will have blinked. It's simple. We are endowed with gas everywhere. Everywhere in Rivers State, there's no single community where there's no gas. And we would have done a mixture of things to provide them electricity. Small power plants powered by gas. Now, of course, mixture of different sources of energy, and we deploy it, and we're almost going to achieve that. So that's the second thing.
How about the third one?
The third
The third one.
the third one is intervention itself in productive activities. We want to target sectors. The target sector of agriculture, because agriculture has capacity to create a lot of employment. And so what wanted to do was a transition from sustenance farming to mechanized farming, whether in the area of aquaculture or the area of farming, mechanized farming itself. In agriculture, wanted to target agriculture, wanted to target ICT, wanted to build ICT park in first the three senatorial districts of the state. Wanted to build ICT park that can take, at the first phase, 1,000 young people living at the ICT park, owning offices at this ICT park, doing their business. If for nothing else, River State will have been the hub of ICT servicing the whole of this country. We had a clear vision of those who wanted to partner with, get the right partnership, get the right funding, build those ICT parks. Now, at first instance, put 1,000 persons in the ICT park. With the visitors office, they got the right skill, they have all infrastructure, the ICT infrastructure to drive it. After which they will move out, set up their own, you bring another one. So in the first 4 years, now you train 3,000 young people. So in the first year, second year, 3,000. So in the first 4 years, you're training 12,000 young people who are about to set up their own businesses. Wow. Our idea is that each person who goes through the ICT park will be able to employ 10 other persons. So we're talking about 120,000 young people working in that sector, supported by the state government to set up and create employment for people. So that's the other thing we wanted to target on. The third wanted to target on was the creative industry of football, film making, and all of that. Those create the creative industry, the creative knowledge-driven industry. That's the other thing we wanted to focus on. So I've talked about agriculture, I've talked about ICT, I've talked about knowledge-driven sector, the creative sector, and now the issue of oil and gas.
At 50, you're still the candidate to beat, given your sound education, educational qualifications, contacts, exposure, experience, and goodwill. Are you still interested in governing River State, or you are done with wanting to be the governor of River State? Lema, thanks so much.
I will respond this way, and I'll be very honest.
Okay, sir.
I'm interested in the development of River State. And time will tell whether I would like to serve as the captain or simply just be part of the team that will not only turn around the master, but turn around River State. Time will tell. But whether I'm interested in the development of River State, I am interested in the development of River State. I'm a key stakeholder, and I believe that I have ideas. I believe I have something to contribute that can revolutionize development in River State. And I'm willing to do that either as team leader or as part of a team. But that decision, I will be definite in the next few months about whether I like to present myself to run for office or simply join and be part of a team that will change the development trajectory of River State.
Wow, I love that. I love that. The Sodas, thanks so much. Don Pulas, thanks so much. Yeah, it says you've been a progressive and inspirational leader. I agree with that. Yes. Now, your party, APC, has come under severe criticisms for obvious reasons. If you have the opportunity to serve at a higher level, what would you bring to the table?
Now, depending on what you mean. Now, serving in party, serving in government.
Serving in government. I'm not talking about party. Serving in government.
Well, serving in government. If I'm given an opportunity to serve in government today, in today's Nigeria, I believe that there are many things that should be done differently. Starting from security, which I believe is our major challenge. We need to look at our security architecture. It's not delivering the kind of outcome we want. Today, we are challenged by insecurity on all fronts. Whether in the northeastern part of the country, where Boko Haram is terrorizing our people are being killed, or in virtually all parts of the country, where you have kidnapping for ransom, where you have herdsmen to farmer classes. Everywhere we're plagued by insecurity. If we can't fix any other thing, we should fix security. And to fix security means that we should look at the security architecture again. We should do a diagnostic review. What is wrong with our security architecture? How can we do it differently? How can we bring new actors on board? How can we have a new direction? How can we chart a new direction? That's number one. Number two is economy. In the area of economy, we have depended for too long on oil to fund our government. We are not productive. We are not producing at all. And we're simply consumption economy. That needs to change. What needs to change is the kind of idea we had developed to change River State. Get the people to produce more. For the people to produce more means more persons will be employed, more hands will be at work to produce more. And for more hands to be at work, it means those persons will earn a living, will earn income. You put them out of poverty. Now, when you put them out of poverty, you improve the quality of living. When you improve the quality of living, there will be few persons that are available to be used for crime. A simple, basic economic understanding of the issues. And so that's the second thing. Change the way the economy works. Get more persons to work. Provide the right environment. Provide the right support. That way you create thousands of jobs. It is not the business of government to employ everybody. No government in the world can employ all herself. Create industry. Let's begin to manufacture. As we manufacture, we export, we earn more money. People live well. China did it. They were able to lift more than 100 million persons within a period of 10 years out of poverty. If they can do it, we can do it. We are better than they are. At least we have models that have worked.
Wow, I love that.
100 million persons out of poverty. It's not rocket science. It can be done. There are models that have done it. So, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Take one of the models, adapt it to our local environment. Make sure you have the right leadership that will make it work. So that's the second thing I've talked about economy. Now, the other one is social infrastructure of education. No nation can progress beyond the knowledge capacity of its people. So build the capacity of our people. Give them quality education. When you give them quality education, it will improve the quality of living. They will become employable. When you give them quality education, they'll be more productive. Invest in education. Now, the United Nations have given a minimum of 15% of our budget to education. Please, if you can exceed 15%. For Nigerian government, we have been below 6%. We have hovered around 6% maximum. Whenever we got to the maximum of 6%, we can hit 15%. Now, education has a spiral effect, not just for this generation, for generation that will come, succeeding generations. Invest in education. Ensure that people are healthy so that they can work and they can live productive life. Invest in healthcare. Now, the whole world is moving towards knowledge economy. Now, let me tell you, it's clear that oil is not sustainable. Now, in many economies today, knowledge-driven activities earn 100 times better than physical objects or what they call natural resource. And so, invest in knowledge-driven economy. It's the way to go. It's the way to go. India today is meeting a lot of persons. India is literally servicing the ICT needs of the whole world. China is manufacturing. That's the area of strength. The area of comparative strength. Now, our area of comparative strength will have a youthful population.
To have a taste of success in life and in politics, what must one do?
One is that you must have a clear vision. Second, you must have some resilience inside of you. Nothing good comes easy. To accomplish means you must be determined. You must have the courage, to meander through resistance. There are very limited opportunities at the top, and there are several persons competing for the limited spaces that are available. And so you don't expect that it's going to be a walk in a garden. It requires courage, and only when you are driven by vision and passion that you'll be able to meander through the challenges that come with getting to the top. The other one is the element of luck. So it must be, three important elements. You must have a clear vision, you must be equipped, you must be resilient.
Wow. 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 I love that.
Vision of where you want to go. Build up your capacity, be determined, be resilient, be courageous. Then ask for help whenever you need to ask for. Whenever it's time for you to ask for help, ask for help. Don't feel bad asking for help. Ask for help.
Wow, I love that. I love that.
No single person accomplishes anything great. For you to accomplish it, you need the support of others to accomplish anything great. When you have a vision, that vision must be bigger than you.
Now, talking about not being able to accomplish things all alone, your relationship with Right Honourable Rotimi Chidika has been such an enviable one. How exactly did both of you meet?
Well, I met him when I was in the university, my early days in the university, and that would have been 1990, about 1990. And from that period to date, it's been a close-knit relationship. He's been a sort of mentor to me, and he's been a mentor. We've had a close-knit relationship from 1990 to today. And that's a period of, I'm sure, like 20 years.
Like 20 years, yes. Wow, that's very nice. Now, your interest in politics, what necessitated it?
Well, I discovered that I had passion for leadership, and that was at age 11. So throughout secondary school, I see myself helping people to discover themselves, helping people to accomplish purpose, and the university the same. So I didn't get into politics by accident. I'm not one of those who got into politics by accident. Mine was more of a calling, and I think that God equipped me too for that role.
Wow, I love that. Now, what has been the greatest lesson that politics has taught you?
The greatest lesson is that you don't get all you want the time you want them, the way you want them, and that you don't give up.
Okay, you have to keep pushing. All right. Now, what is the commonest mistake that any politician can make?
The commonest mistake any politician can make is to believe that position is the same thing as leadership. And so every young politician struggles to occupy an important position. They turn out becoming liabilities. They are not equipped for the position, and they discover that they are not fulfilled even when they attain the position. So they end up focusing on the other thing they can focus on: money, to steal money. They damage their reputation, damage their integrity, damage everything about them, and of course, damage their future.
Wow. Lemat 2707, thanks so much for joining us. Rafata, thanks so much for joining us. All the wonderful people who have joined us, we appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. Now, what is the best thing that politics has done for you?
Oh, well, it has given me opportunity to impact on the lives of more persons than I could ever imagined. I've impacted on more lives than I could ever imagine. I could ever imagined. That's the greatest thing for me. As member of House of Reps, every single year I was sending 10 persons abroad, all expenses paid, and I did that for 4 years.
Wow. Interesting. Interesting.
Local government chairman, I gave a lot of people opportunity.
Okay, sir. I said at 50, you have no doubt done very, very well for yourself. What are the other things you still look up to God for?
Oh, well, I'm trusting God to make more impact. And I have specific sectors where I love to make impact. I'm reviving, or we're taking to the next level, Development and Leadership Institute. We want to train more young persons for leadership, to prepare them for leadership. That's something we didn't benefit from. We realize that most persons get to leadership ill-equipped or ill-prepared, if they're ever prepared at all. We want to invest a lot of energy now in development and leadership institutes, so we'll train more young persons, equip them for leadership, prepare them for leadership. Because if we get leadership right, this country will experience development in a new dimension. If we get leadership right, it will tackle most of the challenges we face today. There's nothing wrong with the land of Nigeria. There's nothing wrong with the water of Nigeria. There's nothing wrong with the people of Nigeria. The challenge we have is leadership. And Chinua Achebe rightly identified that. The challenge with Nigeria today is leadership. We have leadership that is mediocre. We have leadership that is we have leadership that is not visionary. Leadership that is not progressive in nature. So we want to invest more in raising young people for leadership, preparing them for leadership. That's one thing we like to focus on. You know, want to pass on some of our experiences to young people, use it to prepare them for leadership, the challenges of leadership, build up their capacity to lead. That's one of the things we want to do. The other thing is that we still think that we have a lot to offer society in the area of development interventions. You know, we want to bring some of our ideas on board to see how much we can change the development trajectory of society. Want to do more books, you know, so that we can record some of our ideas, codify some of our ideas, and let more persons read our ideas. Want to do a bit more books. I've given myself the task of doing 10 books in 10 years. And when I say 10 books, 10 original books in the next 10 years. So by the time I turn 60, by the special grace of God, we'll have done 10 good books. 10 good books. That's one of the tasks.
That's nice.
Then I want to spend more time serving the Almighty God. You know, there's a spiritual part of man. If you don't develop that part, you will never be fulfilled. I like to get more involved after 50 in a lot of spiritual growth or helping people get fulfilled in their service to the Lord. That's something I like to do. I like to get involved in a bit of teaching. I like to get involved in a bit of teaching in the next phase of my life. That's one thing I like to do.
Well, I love that. Now, talking about God, of all the things that the Lord has done for you, which one gives you the greatest joy and why?
Well, the one that gives me the greatest joy is my family, surprisingly. I'm blessed with a good wife, wonderful children. My mother is around, alive, healthy, strong, very strong, very strong, very strong. For me, God has blessed me with a good family. Several other things are blessings. But, you know, your family makes you stable. Your family makes you stable. With family, you can focus, you can do more. Without a stable family, you'll be challenged. You know, there are many things you can't do. So, but I'm blessed to have a good family, so that way I'm focused and I can pursue my mission.
Wow. All right. What is going to change about you going forward?
Oh, definitely a number of things will change. A number of things. More mature, more exposed, more experience. My approach to things will change. My focus will change. But my energy will not go down.
I like that. All right. Now, in all of these, you know, do you have any regrets?
There's nobody who does not have any regrets, including myself. So I have some regrets. You know.
Would you like to share the one you consider most? I'm looking for how to couch it now. The strongest one
is that I would have studied some other course, you know, because from point one, I identified the fact that I had passion for another course, but I simply wanted to please my parents. When I chose to study medicine, and the route to study medicine was to go through the medical laboratory sciences, get a first degree in medical laboratory sciences, go back and study medicine, please your parents, make them happy. Life is not about making your parents happy. It's about feeling fulfilled yourself. Feeling your own purpose. For me, that's one major step I took that I think was wrong. That with benefit of hindsight, I know it wasn't the right step.
Wow, I love that. Now, what fond memories of your childhood, you know, do you still cherish, and won't mind sharing with us?
Well, I don't know how it happened, but I had the opportunity of traveling around this country, which at the time, in the early 70s, I don't think a lot of young people had that opportunity. Virtually every holiday, I spent it in a different state capital. That way, it gave me a cosmopolitan view of life. I understand different cultures. I understand people from different places. I can integrate very well. I can accommodate people. So I have typically a cosmopolitan background. For me, that's some memory that I cherish a lot. So I can relate with somebody from the north, somebody from the west, somebody from the east. I can understand their pattern of reasoning. I can understand their way of life. I can integrate, I can associate, and I can accommodate them. It gave me solid pan-Nigerian view of life, and it's something I'm very grateful.
Wow. Earlier on, you said something about family. Do you mind telling us about your family? Can we meet your family?
Well, family means that I have my wife, Elima. Elima is a lawyer. She's a lawyer for over 20 years standing. She's a very beautiful woman, loving woman, caring woman. I'm proud of her. I have 3 beautiful children. Two beautiful daughters and a handsome son. My eldest daughter is Soba. She's a law student in England. Following that one is a lady called Belema. She's schooling in the United States. Then the third is a boy. He's also schooling in England. Tamlon baby. That's the nuclear family.
Okay. Now, talking about your wife, you just lavished her with praise and everything. Do you mind sharing your love story? How did you meet her? How did you sweep her off her feet? Or, how did it happen? How did you
She
fall in
swept me
love?
off my feet.
The most important thing is that someone swept someone off his or her feet.
I'll start it this way. When
Yes.
we were young, we used to have what they call neighbor. We used to live in the same neighborhood.
Okay.
And somehow I just started observing her without her knowing that somebody was observing her. I noticed a few qualities that were not very common in those days. I started chatting her up, and over time I found out that she had those qualities that I cherish. And we got talking, we became friends, and from friendship, he ended up in my asking if she would love to marry me. She gladly accepted. She was very young, she was 21 then. She gladly accepted to marry me and walk down the aisle rather. And
Wow.
that's an abridged version of the love
Of the story. I love that.
Exchange of flowers, exchange of novels, exchange of books, talking about world affairs, talking about travels, talking about dreams, all those long nights of talking about dreams, talking about what love life looks like. We just ended up being man and wife.
Wow, I love that. Now, we have just 5 minutes to go. In those 5 minutes, I'm going to ask you 2 questions that some of the people who joined us tonight asked me, to
ask.
throw at you. Yes. One person says, did Nimasa really give you the opportunity to serve Nigeria better than the legislature? That is the first one. And the other person says, okay, go ahead. You can take that one so that we'll not take the final one and
There
we'll
are
round
two
off.
different things. It's like comparing oranges and apple. Now, legislation is about lawmaking.
Okay.
Legislation is about lawmaking. Now, you can make laws that will have enormous impact all over the country. But it is likely that they're not going to attribute that law to you alone. You didn't make that law. You are one of the collective. You're a member of the collective. And so, we are to make more impact in legislature. But it's not, nobody's going to attribute it to you. You may have initiated the law, but so many other persons had played a role. Ultimately, it is the 360 of you plus 109 that passed that law. So it's attributed to the Senate. The 7th Senate, the 8th Senate, the 9th Senate. It's attributed to them. But in the matter, you are chief executive. Whatever changes you make is attributed to you. You are the captain of the vessel. That's the difference. One is regulatory in nature in the executive arm of government. The other one is legislature, and in the legislature, it is collective responsibility. You know,
Wow.
there are very few things that anybody can attribute to you as an individual. So there are two different things. You know, they are complementary, but they are two different things. So National Assembly provided a different platform. NIMASA provided a different platform with different outcomes.
Wow, I love that. I love that. Now let me take the final question, and I think it's from Butilo. Butilo says, so what plans or what did you do about ensuring that some of the legacies you left behind that NIMASA are sustained, that they are able to endure?
Well, we try to institutionalize most of the changes we did. But you know, it still rests on leadership. I was simply lucky that my successor was a member of my team till he was appointed. And so we shared some of our vision. But we tried to institutionalize most of the things we did. Most of the things. One, I can tell you something. We celebrated our staff annually. Celebrated them before you know the world. I understand that they intend to continue with that tradition. We are pursuing digital transformation of the agency. I also understand that they're going ahead with that vision of digitalizing operations of the agency. That I know that they're in pursuit of that vision. There are a few other things that they've continued on the path. So I'm lucky to have a successor from among members of my team. So but before then, we documented a number of our processes. We internalized the processes, including the fact that people must write exams to be promoted. We institutionalized regular promotion. You know, because we needed the morale of the people to be high. For as long as morale of the people is high, if their morale is not high, then the agency will experience stunted growth. They won't give their best to the agency. They won't be motivated to give their best to the agency. So like regular promotion exercise.
Wow. Thank you so very much, Dr. Dakuku Peterside. It's been a wonderful session, you know, despite the technical hitches that we experienced here and there. You know, you have spoken so eloquently, so beautifully, and so wonderfully. We are very, very grateful. All those who made our time to join us, I may not be able to readily read out everybody's name. From Olainka Dairo to Stephanie Frank, to the Sodas, to Butilo, to all the wonderful people who joined us this night. We are very, very grateful. Thank you so much. Lemat, thanks so much. Lemat says congratulations, Dr. Dakuku. Thanks so much.